welcome back to the channel. My name is Katie and I'm the Organic Esthetician. In today's video, we're going to talk all about the Biocharger. So this is a cloud-based wellness platform that I've integrated into my practice here in the Napa Valley studio. I've been trying to make this video for a while now, and it's taken me a bit to figure out how to easily describe all of the different components of this amazing machine. So in today's video, we're going to focus on the 4 vital energies or modalities that make up the Biocharger, in addition to showing you how I integrate the Biocharger into my aesthetics practice. Previously, I introduced the Biocharger in my PEMF video. If you haven't watched that, I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes down below and a card up here, so you can hop over after watching this video to learn more about PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic fields. All right, so I had the hardest time getting me and the Biocharger in one frame. So I'm just going to have this little guy over here throughout the video so you can have a visual of the Biocharger as I'm talking about it. If you're new to the channel, I've been a licensed esthetician in California since 2010. I use clean beauty and electrical modality to focus on anti-aging. So here on the channel, I make videos explaining various at-home gadgets, diving deep into what they are actually doing in the skin, the modalities that make them effective, and show you which devices are best suited for various skin concerns so that you can figure out which device is best for you. The more that you learn about anti-aging, even if your focus is a line right here, when you really start diving into it, you quickly realize that what we're doing topically is only as effective as what we're doing internally. So whether that means diet or lifestyle or integrating some of these alternative modalities into your daily or weekly practice, you're going to see better results when you treat the body internally at a cellular level. We'll be talking a lot about this throughout today's video, but this is why I have chosen to go down this path of energy treatments. I think that's just the easiest, broadest term that categorizes all of the various things that I've been into lately. But at the core of these energy treatments is PEMF. I'm so impressed with it. It's something that can easily be incorporated into a daily or weekly routine at home. The Biocharger is maybe not something that everyone would have at home, but there are a lot of options for home use. I talk about them in my PEMF video. But it's when we're able to stimulate cellular function and increase cellular health that the real results start to happen. So I've mentioned this before, but moving forward on the channel, you're going to see a handful of videos on wellness treatments that you can do at home or find locally to help stimulate and optimize cellular health. All right, so let's jump into the Biocharger. So this tabletop device creates a ring of power when you turn it on with a radius of up to 6 feet, allowing for hands-free treatments. It can accommodate up to 6 people around it, or you can roll it up next to a client while you're performing a facial. Here in the Napa Valley studio, I use it in both ways. So to fully understand what the Biocharger actually does, we need to look at the 4 different modalities or vital energies that encompass the Biocharger. So in this big white box at the base is the primary coil, or PEMF. Above it is the secondary coil. This big red tube is the Tesla coil. This is your voltage. It offers up to 700,000 volts of energy in a single treatment. Above that is the third coil. That's this silver donut at the top of the Tesla coil. And that's the toroid. This is our frequencies and harmonics. This allows us to dial into specific effects. We can stimulate metabolism, zero in on tissue regeneration, and target pathogens to help the immune system run smoothly. Lastly, you see these 12 tubes around the outside of the Biocharger. These are light spectrum tubes. Spectrum light is healing for the body and skin. It's ionized by the Tesla coil. This spectrum light penetrates into the cell to stimulate a healing and calming process to balance the body. Okay, So PEMF, voltage, frequencies and harmonics, visible light spectrum. These are the 4 modalities that make up the biocharger. Each one on their own has amazing benefits. Next, we're gonna dive into what those benefits are. But layered together is what makes the biocharger so unique. Okay, so I love woo, right? I definitely can head in that direction sometimes. But for me to be able to really get behind something and to understand it, it needs to be science-based. For me to then bring whatever that is to all of you here on the internet, I have to be very clear on the science behind it. Today, we're gonna really focus on the scientific evidence that supports these various modalities. I will say that I personally was skeptical about this device prior to using it. I loved the way it looked. It's so crazy looking. And as someone who offers electric facials, I wanted this to be the crown jewel of my treatment room. But once I had my first treatment, I went to this place called Optimize in Phoenix. They have 3 locations. I'm such a huge fan of what they're doing down there. Their Tempe location has a biocharger, and that's where I had my very first biocharger treatment. And I instantly felt different. And maybe you say to yourself, oh, that's placebo, but I physically and emotionally feel different every time I run a biocharger recipe. I then got a biocharger, started integrating it into my facials, and I see every single client feel different after using the biocharger. I do my structural lifting massage while I run a skin health hybrid recipe. And I'm gonna get into what that recipe is, what recipes are in general in a little bit, but I'm performing manual massage while my client receives a biocharger session. Part of this massage technique is intraoral buccal massage. Since layering the biocharger with this massage technique, I cannot tell you how many clients fall asleep with my hands in their mouth. It stimulates a very deep level of relaxation. And in triggering that parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, we're able to calm the body and its processes, which allows it to use its energy for cellular regeneration and collagen stimulation. So a direct correlation between being relaxed and an anti-aging result. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. PEMF. Again, I have an entire video dedicated to this modality, but we'll recap it quickly here. Pulsed electromagnetic fields are these pulsed electromagnetic waves that mimic the body's own natural electromagnetic frequencies. We are electric, and we're going to talk about this throughout today's video. Just like another modality, if any of you are familiar with LED light therapy, thank you, NASA, for everything that you do. They created it to negate the negative effects of microgravity in long-term space missions. That was a mouthful. The intensity and the frequency of these electromagnetic waves can be adjusted to target specific parts of the body and to address specific health conditions. PEMF can be used to reduce pain, to reduce inflammation, to improve circulation, to enhance cellular and cognitive function, and to support overall wellness. One of the big things PEMF does is that it increases cellular permeability. This means that nutrients are able to come into the cell, and in doing so, they detoxify waste and toxins out. This is an integral part of healthy cellular function. PEMF is FDA approved for the healing of bone and is fantastic for stimulating bone growth to address conditions like osteoporosis. Next is voltage, or that secondary coil, the Tesla coil. So before we talk about voltage, something you should know is that we are electric. The University of Michigan just published their findings. They use these nano-size voltmeters to measure cellular voltage, and they measured up to 15 million volts per meter inside of a cell. Our cellular voltage is directly related to our ability to create new healthy cells. And one of the main components of aging is our inability to create healthy new cells. So by increasing our cellular voltage, we're able to increase healthy cellular regeneration. So that healing voltage increases that cellular permeability in the same way that the PEMF does. We're enhancing permeability to increase nutrient uptake into the cell, detoxifying waste out. There's up to 100 lightning strikes every second on our planet, mostly in the stratosphere, but it contributes to the Earth's electromagneticism. We are electric, the planet is electric. So if this seems a little wild to you, let's roll it back. Think about what we're doing with microcurrent. A lot of you have at-home microcurrent devices, the Zip, the MyoLift Mini, the New Face. All of these devices use a low-level electrical current to mimic the body's natural electricity, triggering muscle activity and cellular energy, the production of adenosine triphosphate. So when you think of it in terms of that, something we're already doing at home, imagine this Tesla coil as a giant microcurrent treatment that you're able to do hands-free. And instead of just doing a treatment on our face, we're stimulating that cellular energy throughout our body. Frequency and harmonics. This is the toroid, that donut at the top of your Tesla coil. So frequency is measured in hertz, and it's the number of oscillations energy makes per second. When we talk about microcurrent frequency, let's say we're using a sine waveform. It's oscillating how many times per second? That's the frequency. The lower the hertz or lower the frequency, the more stimulating. The higher the hertz, the more sedating. And it's often used for pain control. So maybe you've heard of binaural beats or solfeggio frequencies. You can dive way into this. Things like Gregorian chants are part of the solfeggio frequencies. There's sound and resonance that create a calming and sedating effect on the body. But they also help to activate the cells. Every cell on its own vibrates in its nucleus, and each cell vibrates differently. We call these molecular and cellular vibrations. Things like infrared light work at vibrating the cell. Think about it as a radio station, and your cell is the receiver. By tuning in to a specific radio station, we're able to communicate specific information to that cell and in turn coax a response from it. So frequencies and harmonics work to activate the brain and the cells to create specific outcomes. And the Biocharger has 100,000 simultaneously every second. Lastly, the light spectrum tubes. So there's a ring of 12 plasma tubes on the outside of the Biocharger, holding 6 different noble gases. These are comprised of argon, helium, mercury vapor, neon, xenon, and iodine. So these noble gases actually comprise our atmosphere. And as these gases get activated by radiation from the sun and voltage from the stratosphere, they create the light that we see and the color of the sky. So we've talked about LED light therapy a lot here on the channel. So let's use LED light therapy as an example. Let's say we have a red LED mask. These devices generate a handful of wavelengths, infrared, far infrared, and near infrared at high intensity. The light emitted from the Biocharger's plasma tubes offer thousands of different wavelengths at the infrared, far infrared, near infrared, and visible light spectrum. Our circadian rhythm in our body is stimulated by light exposure. Science has shown that if you were to go outside at sunrise and sunset and put your eyes on the horizon, you would get this huge spectrum of infrared and visible light that we're normally not exposed to. And in doing so, you help regulate and support your body's circadian rhythm. So this is a really great segue into how the Biocharger emulates nature. You could go outside and walk barefoot on the earth and receive electromagnetic therapy from the earth. Right? It's called grounding. And there's a lot of studies supporting the anti-inflammatory benefits of walking barefoot on the earth. If you walk through a forest, you are getting ionization from chemicals that trees emit, which helps to lower stress levels. If we could do this every day regularly, you wouldn't need a biocharger. And maybe some of you have a lifestyle where you can create that routine for yourself. I personally, very unfortunately, don't have time for that. So the biocharger takes these different healing components of nature and encompasses it into a hands-free treatment that you can do daily. I feel like you could teach a college level course on the 4 different modalities the biocharger offers. Hopefully this video gives you a little more clarity on how these energies work and how layered together they create really unique wellness treatments. The biocharger works through cloud-based recipes. Online, there's a library of over 1,200 different treatments or recipes, as they call them, that can be chosen based on the needs of the user. You can upload a handful of them onto the device at a time, and you're able to run a recipe by using the touchscreen on the front of the biocharger. So the recipes are the treatments. So there are 3 different types of recipes. So first, there's full spectrum. So these are recipes that work from your head to your toes and everywhere in between. They regulate and balance pathogens, and they create a sweep that covers over 100,000 frequencies at a time. Then there's targeted recipes. These are recipes that target specific issues in the body. And then lastly, there are hybrid recipes. So these are longer treatments that combine targeted and full spectrum. Any recipe you run, whether it's targeted, full spectrum, or hybrid, is gonna be beneficial because it's increasing the body's voltage and creating balance. That being said, I have a handful that I gravitate towards, and I thought I would just share some of my favorites. Funny enough, they're all hybrid recipes. I really like the hybrids because they tackle a little bit of everything. They're a little bit longer, but they're more comprehensive. My favorite recipe to run during my facials is the Skin Health Hybrid. I integrate this recipe into every single one of my OE signature facials. So this focuses on skin health. It balances the pH, it stimulates collagen, it promotes healthy lymphatic function and purification. So no matter what my client's specific concern is, I know that I'm addressing it using the Skin Health Hybrid. For me personally, because I have a repetitive motion injury, I have thoracic outlet syndrome and cubital tunnel syndrome, super fun. I really like using Tesla Stretch. So this hybrid recipe addresses bones, joints, ligaments, tendons, muscles, and helps to break down the adhesions in fascia. I find that I have more mobility when I do Tesla Stretch, that I don't feel as tight. And I also feel a reduction in pain when I do it. And while there are targeted pain treatments that I also do, I feel like Tesla Stretch really does help reduce the pain I feel from holding tension in my areas of injury. And lastly, one of my favorite kind of overall maintenance treatments is Wellness Happiness. This recipe targets wellness, inflammation, and mood by combining 3 different recipes: Wellness Sweep, Inflammation Sweep, and Happy Days. Wellness Sweep is a full spectrum recipe. Inflammation Sweep is another full spectrum recipe. And Happy Days is a targeted mood elevating recipe. When I do wellness and happy relief, I go home and sing to Amos. I'm just in such a good mood and I feel good. Anecdotally, I will say that I have not gotten sick since I've gotten my biocharger. I run a targeted immunity treatment a couple times a week as well, just because I am constantly dealing with the public. I travel a lot, and I would say normally I'm someone who gets everything. Hopefully I didn't jinx myself, but I think it'll be interesting to see how I fare through the winter season. I've felt a little run down a couple days, and so I sat in front of the biocharger a little longer than normal and bounced back within 24 hours. So I could say as much about this thing as I want to. You need to try it for yourself. If you're in Northern California, reach out, request a biocharger session. I always offer your first one free. If you're not in the neighborhood, there are biochargers all over the country. And there's a company called OsteoStrong that has biochargers at all of their locations and also offers your first session free. I'll put a link to my request form and to their business down below, along with a link to find a biocharger near me, which is something that the Biocharger website offers, where you put in your zip code and you can find where your nearest Biocharger is. I feel so much better when I charge. I'm constantly working with my hands. I work out 3 or 4 times a week. I get muscle tension, and occasionally, especially like if I sleep in a weird way, I'll get nerve sensations still. Doing regular Biocharger sessions has prevented those little moments from turning into long-term issues. I recently had a cyst on the palm of my hand. I ran a cyst recipe a couple of times and it completely dissolved and went away. Again, I know this is anecdotal. My father has this rotator cuff issue, doesn't do any PT. I tell him he needs to do it daily. I'm this man. But when he does regular Biocharger treatments, his range of motion doubles. I see how it affects people in my life. I see how it affects my clients. I really just want to share this amazing thing with all of you. You can use the Biocharger daily and weekly. They suggest taking 1 day off a week just to promote homeostasis in the body. Usually up to an hour's worth of treatments is all that's required. These recipes can be as short as 10 minutes or as long as 30, depending on which one you're running. If you're just wanting to do something maintenance, I think like once, twice a week is a really nice way to integrate it into your routine. If you're someone that has an acute issue or condition that you want to focus on, then you're gonna wanna do 4 or 5 sessions a week, and a treatment plan could last up to 12 weeks, depending on what you're trying to address. The only contraindications are really pregnancy and if you have any metal or electrical devices implanted in your body. And as always, with any pre-existing condition, always talk to your physician before adding in any sort of alternative therapy or modality. And just a usage tip, you want to make sure that you drink lots of water before and after your Biocharger treatments because you are stimulating detoxification. So the Biocharger is pricey. It runs around $16,000. I will say that if you are interested in making the investment, they work with a company that offers financing, and I find those payments to be really manageable. I have a discount code, OE500, that gives you $500 off your Biocharger purchase. I'm going to put my Biocharger shopping link and discount code down below. If you're interested in incorporating PEMF into your daily routine, but the Biocharger isn't in your price point, another great option is the Haelo. Keep in mind, Biocharger, 4 energies, up to 1,200 different recipes. Haelo, 1 energy, PEMF, and 10 different frequency sets is what they call them. I like using the Haelo at home because my Biocharger is at my studio, and I don't travel with my Biocharger because it's so big and because it was so expensive. So when I see clients in LA, I bring my Haelo. Again, I talk all about the Haelo in my PEMF video. I have a discount code for the Haelo, KS, and I'll put links and discount codes to the Haelo down below as well. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope this shed a little light into how the Biocharger works and the amazing benefits that it offers. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you subscribe. Black Friday is right around the corner, and I have so many videos coming your way, so get ready, which means I'll be seeing you all really soon.